gents, and welcome to tonight's episode of Morte. Tonight, that treacherous, evil piece of work whom we call King Mark will commit murder most vile. And hello, and welcome everyone. Hello Queen, hello Sean, hello Black Rabbit and Lars, hello Not to High Life. Yes, it works. Hello Danny, come in. Hello Fat Fish, welcome. Hi Taz, hello Mimics, welcome guys. Yes, tonight it's working. Sorry for the hiccup last night. It wasn't Periscope that was the issue in the end. It was my iPad. My iPad cut out and refused to connect to the internet, which I discovered. So hello, come in everyone. That was the issue, but we're fixed for this evening. Hopefully there won't be any more hiccups. Hello Clockwork, hello Born Rush, come in guys, come in. Sit yourselves down. It was an evil iPad, but the evil iPad has been smited. And there will be no interruptions tonight. I've been guaranteed, well, haven't been guaranteed that at all, but I can hope. I can cross my fingers and hope. And greetings, my lady Danny. You've got, I talk about getting a sword. One day I'll get a sword for the show. And there's just such a danger of me putting a hole in the wall, which, you know, there goes my deposit for the flat if I poke a hole in the wall with a sword. It's a difficult thing to explain to your landlord. I won't, Sean. You know, you wouldn't have a katana hanging around, you know, Camelot anyway. It would probably be a huge broadsword or something like that. But I won't. Hello Julie, hello, welcome guys, come in. We'll give it another half minute or so before we get into tonight's show. Hello Mike. It's not a cliche, Sean, it's not a cliche to be historically accurate. Oh, that said, battle, I do like a good axe. A good axe, and if I had an axe, I could also use it in the kitchen. And I have found some kitchen axes with runes on, which is nice. You know, a collection. Do you think Queen, in the same way that some people have closets full of shoes, maybe I could have a closet full of various, you know, Middle Ages weaponry and armour and all that stuff. Yeah, like Queen said, yeah, there we go, Danny's on it. Just have an armoury. I now need a basement so I could have an armoury. Amazed from Sean there. My Amazon wish list for Christmas this year is going to be quite intense with weaponry, it would seem. And a catapult as well. There we go, we're sorted. All that stuff plus catapult, I'm happy. A special room. Every room that I'm in is special, Queen. Every room that I go into becomes special. You should know that. Anyway, enough of my chit-chat. I'm rambling on. Let's get into tonight's show, ladies and gents. We are telling the tale of that most cowardly knight, King Mark. King Mark, who is King of Cornwall and who hates Cornwall's most famous knight, Sir Tristram, for not only is Sir Tristram more better thought of than King Mark, Tristram is beloved of King Mark's own wife, Lady Isolde, and so, after exiling Tristram from Cornwall, King Mark has set off into Britain with one intent in mind, and one intent only, ladies and gents. King Mark seeks to slay Tristram for being so beloved of his wife. But, ladies and gents, oh, it's all part of the show, Connie. The shouting is all part of the show. But the problem is this, ladies and gents. King Mark is a rather poor knight, and a cowardly one at that. So that his fame as a weak, treacherous, cowardly knight has filled the realm, and every knight he's come across so far has made fun of him for being such a weak knight, and every knight he's come across that has challenged him to battle he's run away from, so that King Mark has just found himself fleeing from 7 knights of the Round Table, only to be found by Sir Palomides. And even Sir Palomides, who saved King Mark when he saw him being ganged up upon by the Knights of the Round Table, has abandoned him after King Mark fell asleep while they chose to rest. And Palomides thought that a knight who would sleep so easily after such a small journey was no knight at all. Ladies and gents, let's see just what happens to King Mark as he continues his adventure across Britain. Now we turn unto Sir Dinadan, who had travelled with King Mark across Britain, but left him when he became wearisome. Sir Dinadan was found with those 7 knights who had harassed King Mark, and when he wanted to know how they had sped, as heavy was he, "My Lord Owain," said Dinadan, "I dare lay my head that it was Sir Lamorak de Galley who fought us back when we chased King Mark. I promise you all I shall find him, and if he may be found in this country, he shall be mine." And so Sir Dinadan rode after the knight who had defended King Mark. And so did King Mark also, who sought him through the forest when he woke. So that as King Mark rode after that knight, who was not Sir Lamorak, but was instead Sir Palomides, he heard the noise of a man who made great sorrow. Then King Mark rode as nigh that noise as he might and as he durst, and then he became aware of a knight who had descended from his horse and put off his helmet. And there in a clearing that knight made a piteous complaint, and a dolorous one, of love. Now leave we that of a moment, and speak instead of Sir Dinadan, who rode to seek Sir Palomides. And as he came within a forest, he met with a knight, a chaser of deer. "Sir," said Sir Dinadan, "have you met with a knight who has a shield of silver with lions' heads upon it?" "Yes, fair knight," said the other, "with such a knight met I but a while agone, and straight ahead yonder way he went." "Thank you," said Sir Dinadan, "for might I find the track of his horse, I should not fail to find a knight at the end." And right so, as Sir Dinadan rode in the even late, he heard a doleful noise, as if it were of a man. And Sir Dinadan rode towards the noise, and when he came to that noise, he came down from his horse and went near on foot. Then he became aware of a knight who stood under a tree, and his horse was tied by him, and the helm was taken from his head, and ever that knight made a sad complaint, as ever had any knight make. And always was that sad monologue over Queen Isolde of Cornwall. For Palomides said, "Oh, fair lady, why do I love thee? For you are fairest of all others, and yet you show me no love, nor bounty. Alas, yet must I love thee, and I may not blame you, fair lady, for my eyes are the cause of my sorrow. And yet, to love you, I am but a fool. For the best knight in all the world loves you, and you love him again, and his name is Sir Tristram de Lyon. And yet, the falsest knight and the falsest king in all the world is your husband, for he is the most cowardly and full of treason, that Lord King Mark. Alas, that ever so fair a lady, peerless of all others, should be matched with the most villainous knight of all the world." All this language was heard by King Mark, and of what Sir Palomides had said by him, wherefore he became adread when he saw Sir Dinadan, lest he espied him that he would tell Sir Palomides that he was King Mark, and therefore King Mark withdrew and took his horse and rode to his men where he commanded them to abide. And so King Mark rode as fast as he might to Camelot, and the same day he found there Amant the knight, ready that Arthur had upheld of treason. And so, lightly, Arthur commanded them to do battle, and by misadventure King Arthur smote Amant through the body. And yet was Amant in the righteous quarrel, and right so he took his horse and departed from the court, for dread of Sir Dinadan, that he would tell Sir Tristram and Sir Palomides who he was. Then were there maidens that Queen Isolde had sent to Sir Tristram, that knew Sir Amant well. Halfway through tonight's tale, ladies and gents, a bit of an abrupt end to that chapter there. King Mark, upon hearing that Sir Palomides is deeply in love with Queen Isolde, has run off to Camelot, and there he has done battle with Sir Amant, slain him rather quickly, and fled once again, lest Sir Dinadan should tell any of the knights of the Round Table and any of the knights within Camelot who King Mark really was, for then his assassination plans would be but naught. And hello, Marissa, thank you for coming. Then, by the license of King Arthur, they went to him and spoke with him. For while in the truncheon of the spear was stuck in his body, Sir Amant spoke. "Ah, fair damsels," said Amant, "recommend me to Queen Isolde of Cornwall, and tell her that I am slain for the love of her and of Sir Tristram." And there he told the damsels of how the cowardly King Mark had slain him, and Sir Bersules his fellow. "And for that deed I call him out of being treasonous, for her am I slain in a righteous quarrel, and all was by cause of Sir Berlus, for I would not consent by treason to slay the noble knight, Sir Tristram." Then the two maidens cried aloud that all the court might hear it, and they said, "O sweet Jesus, that knows all hidden things, why did you suffer yourself so false a traitor to vanquish and slay a true knight who fought in a righteous quarrel?" And then anon it was made aware to the king and queen and to all the lords that it was King Mark who had slain Sir Amant and Sir Bersules before, wherefore they all did battle. And then was King Mark angry out of measure, and so were the other knights. But when Sir Tristram knew all the matter, he made great dole and sorrow, and wept for sadness over the loss of the noble knights Sir Bersules and Sir Amant. And when Sir Lancelot saw Sir Tristram weep, he went hastily to King Arthur and said, "Sir, I pray you, give me leave to return again to yonder false king and knight." "I pray you," said King Arthur, "fetch him again, but I would not that you slay him for my worship." Then Sir Lancelot armed himself in all haste and mounted upon a great horse, and he took a spear in his hand and rode after King Mark, and from thence, a 3-mile way, Sir Lancelot overtook him and bade him to turn. "Turn, recreant king and knight," he said, "for wherever you go, you shall go with me to King Arthur's court first." King Mark returned and looked upon Sir Lancelot and said, "Fair sir, what is your name?" "Know you well," said he, "my name is Sir Lancelot, and therefore defend yourself." And when King Mark realized it was Sir Lancelot, who came so fast upon him with a spear, he cried then out loud, I yield! I yield! I yield to thee, Sir Lancelot, honourable knight. But Sir Lancelot would not hear him, but came fast upon him. And when King Mark saw that and made no defence, he tumbled down from his saddle and hit the earth as a sack, and there he lay still and cried, Sir Lancelot, have mercy! Arise, recreant knight and king, he said. I will not fight, said King Mark, but whither that you will go, I will go too. Alas, alas, said Sir Lancelot, that I might not give thee one stroke for the love of Sir Tristram and of Queen Isolde, and for those 2 knights that you have slain traitorously. And so he mounted upon his horse, and brought him to King Arthur, and there King Mark alit in the same place, and threw his helm from upon him to the earth, and his sword was thrown too, and he fell flat on the earth at Arthur's feet, and put himself in his grace and mercy. So God help me, said Arthur, you are welcome in a manner, and in a manner you are not welcome at all. In this manner you are welcome, that you come here upon your own will, I suppose. That is truth, said King Mark, and else I had not been here, for my lord Sir Lancelot brought me hither through his fine force, and to him I yielded as a recreant. Well, said Arthur, you understand you ought to do me service, homage, and fealty. And never would you do me none, but ever have you been against me, and been a destroyer of my knights. Now, how will you acquit yourself? Sir, said King Mark, right as your lordship will require me unto power, I will make large amends. For he was a fair speaker, but otherwise a liar. Then, for great pleasure of Sir Tristram, and to make them twain accorded, the king withheld King Mark as at that time, and made a broken love day between them. There we go, at an end to tonight's tale, ladies and gents. King Mark has finally arrived in Camelot, but he has been revealed as King Mark. No assassination looks like it will take place now, for King Mark, after he had slain Sir Berlus, his own knight, who had sworn not to kill Tristram, then he came across Sir Amant, another of his own knights in Camelot, who was about to reveal all of King Mark's plans, and King Mark slew Sir Amant treacherously. And so now at last Sir Lancelot has brought that criminal, that criminal King Mark before King Arthur. And King Arthur has demanded that King Mark should find a way to make amends for all of the crimes he has ever committed against Arthur's knights. King Mark has spoken with fair words of what he will do. But the question is, will his fair words come to aught? For he is a treacherous knight, and known to lie, and therefore, ladies and gents, pardon me, we shall see exactly what happens. What happened to Sir Dinadan? Sean, Sir Dinadan is at this point in time still with those other 6 knights of the Round Table, including Sir Owain and Sir Mordred. You see, Sir Dinadan and those 6 knights looked as if they were set to go to Camelot and reveal King Mark's identity. So King Mark, desperate to go and get to Camelot with his identity hidden so that he might slay Tristram, rode off, sprinted towards Camelot. But once he arrived, he discovered that one of his own knights who had turned against him once his treachery had been revealed was already at Camelot. And so, moments after arriving, King Mark slew his own knight and then fled once again, his identity truly revealed. The question is, ladies and gents, now that King Mark and Tristram are both within Camelot, will King Mark try again to assassinate his foe Sir Tristram? Will this peace that King Arthur wants to broker between them be a true peace, or will it just be false, an excuse for King Mark to get close? We shall find out all in good time, ladies and gents. All in good time. But coming up now in a few minutes is Poetry Live. I have only had, I have only had, he says. I'll check my Insta just in case. I'll check Instagram just in case. But I've only had one suggestion as to what packaging I can read as a poem for tonight. And the iPad won't shut. Lars has sent through some packaging for me to read to you all on Poetry Live tonight. So I will read that. And if I don't receive any more packaging to read on Poetry Live, then I shall finish off the Mallarmé that we didn't get a chance to read last night. No, I'm not reading the lyrics to Black Star. We've done the Bowie now, Sean. We are reading the back of packets tonight, and the Mallarmé that we've got to go and cover. And also, I'm going to start to annoy folk with this comp, but that's okay. Folk can be annoyed. For me, you know, Bowie's best stuff was kind of 70s, 80s. I wasn't a huge fan of Bowie's body post 90s. Of Bowie's body of work post 90s. Bowie for me, I prefer his 70s, 80s stuff. That's my favourite. My favourite 2 Bowie decades. You know, sit there. I know that some folk will disagree, but that's cool. That's all cool. But I very much 70s, 80s Bowie. That's where I like to sit. That's what I like to play. It was an okay album, Black Star, but it didn't blow me away. Anyway, so which is true of most albums that are released by artists who did their best stuff decades ago. Well, I think a fair few can say that actually, Lars, but it all depends on the meaning of the words. Anyway, I'm going to go and grab the Mallarmé and grab Lars's stuff to read for tonight, and I will see you guys in a few minutes for Poetry Live. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you, Sean and Queen. Thank you, Black Rabbit and Lars, Taz, Danny, Clockwork, Julie, Karen and Lou. It's been great to see you. And I'll speak to you again in a few minutes as well. Bye-bye.